Ready for an angry diversity video, which comes from a place of love. You've found the right place. You know who I am. Let's skip it and let's go straight to what we're talking about here. Spider-Man, the official Spider-Man Twitter account. That's important. What it says is prepare for something amazing this August. And here is a list of names. Read these names. These are top famous writers, artists, and then some duds, but for the most part, these are some heavy hitters if you're not a comic book fan. Those names mean something. Those names put out before we even know the name of this new series or what it is that is amazing that is coming. They started it off with advertising the names of these people who I assure you are big deals. Most of them. Most of those names are awesome names, and most of those are interesting. You want to read their artwork, their words, what stories they've done in the past have been turned into movies. Stories they've done in the past uh, are successful, top-selling comic book artists who only go to the top tier characters. I cannot overstate Neil Gaiman. Put that. Jim Chung is in there too. Olivier Copier, all of the Michael Cho's a big deal, and Terry Dodson. Rachel's coming too. Terry and Rachel Dodson, the tag team. Those two are ass kickers, and if they're on a comic book, the last time they did a comic book, it was called Fantastic Four and X Men. Yeah, that was the last thing I saw for them on Marvel, where they were doing issues. Fantastic Four and X Men. You don't break that glass in case unless there's an emergency. Those names are heavy hitters. Okay, we understand that. Good. That's what happened there. Spider Man's getting the top tier writers. Scroll back up because this was my tweet. This tweet right fucking here. Legend after legend to write slash draw Spider-Man. Selling you on creators. How about Ms. Marvel? How about Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel? The strategy to sell her is to number 3 comics, number 1. So a number 1 issue of Wolverine, a number 1 issue of Ms. Marvel and Moon Knight, a number 1 issue called Venom, Ms. Marvel and Venom. And they will appear for these irrelevant adventures. That's the unamused face. You guys know that one? That's called unamused. That one there. Big one right there. Unamused. I am unamused by the strategy here, where we compare it between what they did for Spider-Man, who we know is Spider-Man, and I have no hatred towards Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, and I'm excited to see what this amazing thing is. All we can see is the logo, amazing, and Jonathan Hickman is involved in that comic book. What was he doing since he's been away from the X-Men? This is his return. That's huge. I don't know even know why his name isn't on top. Maybe out of respect for some other guys who were doing it longer than he was. But Jonathan Hickman's name is on that comic book, and not on Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel. You know who's on that one? I don't know. You know what we should do, actually? I'll do it right now. I'm going to open up and share the screen again with the actual tweet that they did on the Ms. Marvel Twitter account to see how they advertised that. Here's Marvel Twitter account. Let's scroll. Am I sharing the screen? Yeah. Oh, let's, because that was announced in April, wasn't it? We're at April 19. Where is it? It's not here. Oh, no such tweet exists. You want to see the tweet where they announced Ms. Marvel and Wolverine is having an issue? Nope. Someone didn't get the memo here. March 15th. I guess that's when this account was created. Well, how about in April when that new comic book series that I was talking about and complaining about? March 16th. Let's scroll up. April 3rd. Nothing about the new comic book. No, it's like it wasn't even important enough for someone from the comics division to send an email to the guy running the Twitter account and say, let's coordinate. They did for Spider Man. Where's the actual effort in this? It's performative diversity, inclusion. What's the other words that they use? Inclusion, representation. There's another big one. It's false. It's fake. If it was true, then what would they do for Kamala since she's got a new TV series happening in June 8th? They'd go, oh, let's coordinate. How about since the attention is going to be on her in the comics world, we're going to actually put up a phone call and say, hey, Kurt Busiek, Terry Dodson, come and do this to Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. Yeah, it's going to coincide with that series. And we at Marvel Comics care that much that we'll do this for this character. They don't care that much. They act like they care that much. They don't. When you grade them, when you study them, and you watch their actions and their moves, they didn't even tell the person running the Twitter account. They probably didn't know that Twitter account was made. I like that Twitter account too because she follows one person. Ms. Marvel, one person that she's following, the Captain Marvel account. Very good. I follow that account. Doesn't follow me back. Ms. Marvel doesn't love me. Doesn't love me the way I love her. I'll be serious again. I always call this stuff out. This happened to trigger me, and I'm upset about it. And I want to share this because it's like, we can make their theories that they don't really care. And you can say, well, they put Jodie Hauser on their comic book. What's going on here? Why is it always the people for who why is it always the opportunity comic book? I just did a video saying about it's the opportunity comic book. Here's another one though. Here's one we can side by side compare. This is what it looks like to advertise Amazing Spider-Man just 2 months apart because that thing was announced in April, and now we're in May announcing the Spider-Man book. 2 months apart, you can see the difference in the effort that is put by the comic book company, by Marvel Comics. It's not about divisions or those guys working the Twitter account didn't know what those guys over there were talking about, and the editor isn't actually in the same boardrooms as the. No, you can't tell me that. It happened for Spider-Man. They didn't get the Twitter love. They're certainly not getting the creator love. Does Spider-Man even have a movie on right now? Nah, nothing's even announced. No Way Home happened in December, as far as we know. We'll see what happens at Comic Con. But it is a Sony movie, and they didn't announce the Sony movie at last time's Comic Con, so we don't know. But there's nothing in between. They're just doing something for Spider-Man because he's Spider-Man. Why? Because they care. Warranted. Of course, you should care about Peter Parker Spider-Man. But I'm showing you how they treat people who care versus how they don't treat people. They treat people how they don't care. They have Ms. Marvel because I don't even know why they're lucky that she was successful and she popped off. Maybe it's because there's such a large Muslim population, underserved community that kind of showed out. But even that dwindled. You guys should watch a video from Comics with Perch because he actually puts out like a line graph chart that can show you the dangers of renumbering. But the sales start all the way here, and you see everything. There's always a dip for new comic books, and then she kind of keeps level. And every single issue you're getting 30,000 sales according to comiccron.com and estimates like that, because Marvel Comics doesn't actually release how many of these comic books sell. You gotta figure that's a whole nother conversation. But they renumber it, and look what happens. You kind of lose your audience. The Ms. Marvel thing never had a top tier writer, top tier artist, and kind of just floated. It's a miracle that character took off. This is the time where I mentioned Brian Michael Bendis and he's being the only comic book writer of stature, of name, of like a guy, a name who sacrificed. He wanted to do it for his family. He has some skin in the game, and he did it. And he did comic book characters where he could have been writing those top tier white characters, Spider-Man, Captain America. Instead he goes, no, I got an Iron Man book, Riri Williams. We can disagree on whether or not that's the right thing. What we can't ignore is that this man at the time used his name for diversity at the expense of sales even. And we can discuss whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I understand if you're a comic book shop and you're like, trying to sell Iron Man because the Iron Man's in the movies, and here's this Riri Williams appearing in your comic book. It's not the best thing. I understand that that's wrong to do to the comic book shops. But if we can remove ourselves from that, we know that Brian Michael Bendis did something. He's the only guy who cares. Name another one. Name another writer who was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a lesser known character, use my talents, and take the brand recognition that comes with buying a comic book with the name Dan Slott on it. And we're going to do this character who just isn't a white guy, or just isn't a historically like backed character by the comic book publishing company who has years and is a household name. Who does that? No one does that. They put names on Spider-Man, X-Men. We know the list of heroes. When it comes to Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, Riri Williams, pick another one. Luke Cage. Luke Cage doesn't have a book. Luke Cage's comic book got canceled. The little 3-issue tie-in to the Devil's Reign doesn't exist anymore. Guys, this is Marvel Comics. This is diversity. This is not a forward company. They're not accomplishing anything. No matter how many articles for the first new blank character, there's no weight behind it. The creators being put on that, to the comic book fan, you who's watching this video and me, we see through it and we know exactly how much they care. Why? Because that comic book tweet that they just did right now saying Kurt Busiek is going to be doing Amazing Spider-Man, because of that tweet there. That list of creators that they had, because we know what they think of Amazing Spider-Man and we know what they think of these writers. And two things happened to link up together in that tweet, this effing tweet right here. I became that YouTuber when you do a big sigh. So I'm gonna laugh at myself. Here's that video to the side of my face that I told you should watch because it's just a objective view on sales and on Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel. I hope this makes you want to read Ms. Marvel's new comic with Wolverine. At least some good can come out of it.